Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. My name is Greg Friedman. I am the director of the International Admissions Office here at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, also known as MCPHS. And today is our Ask Us Anything session. So, true to the name, we're happy to answer and address any questions that you guys may have, whether it's about the admission process, about finances, about particular majors, about the university in general, the city of Boston, really anything that you would like to know. Please do go ahead and leave any questions that you would like to know in the chat, and I will do my best to answer those. While some of you guys are thinking of some questions, I just want to point out a couple of exciting events that are coming up on campus. First of all, on February 21st, in just a few weeks, we're going to be having our second Admitted Student Day. So if you've already been admitted to the university, you should have received information. Registration is live for that right now. We'd love for you to come join us on February 21st for our second Admitted Student Day on our Boston campus. Secondly, we also are holding a open house, our spring open house, which is going to be on March 14th. So if you are looking for admission for a future cycle, for example, 2027 or 2028, and you'd like to come and learn more information about the university, or even if you're looking at fall 2026 and you just have not yet completed your application and are coming to find out more about the university, March 14th is a great opportunity for that. That, again, is our open house. Registration is open and live now on our website. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into some of your questions. So I see a question about what is the GPA average to get into the nursing program? Good question. For most of our programs, we're looking at around a 3.0 GPA or higher. We do a holistic admissions review, so we're going to look at other elements of your application, such as your letters of recommendation, optional test scores, essays, things along those lines. Generally speaking, we're looking for about a 3.0 GPA. And for nursing in particular, we're really going to hone in on your math and your science courses. So biology, chemistry, and math. Those are the three most crucial elements of your application. So, if your overall GPA is a little bit lower, but you're really strong in the science and math, you can still feel pretty good about your application. If you'd like to know more or be connected with an admission counselor, you can always email us at admissions@mcphs.edu. Let's see. A student asking about is the award that you received for the year 2026-2027 for all 4 years. So if you're referring to your scholarship, yes, your scholarship is renewable for all 4 years, or if you happen to be in a program like our 6-year Doctor of Pharmacy program, it would be renewable for all 6 years. The only caveat is there is typically a minimum GPA that you need to maintain. So for most undergraduate programs, that is a 2.5 GPA. So not super hard. As long as you maintain that 2.5 GPA, you can renew that every single year. If you are referring to your FAFSA award package, that is only for the current year. That is something you have to reapply for each subsequent year. I see a question about the Admitted Student Day. So you signed up for our Admitted Student Day in March. That's awesome. Congrats, Jonathan. We're looking forward to having you on campus. We don't have the exact agenda yet. That will be sent out a little bit closer to the date. So look out for that by email. If you do have any specific questions in the meantime, always good to get in touch with your specific admissions counselor. You can see who that is inside your application portal. On the right-hand side, you should see a picture of them and their name and contact information. But if you're unsure who to contact, just reach out to the general admissions inbox, which again is admissions@mcphs.edu, and we'll get you connected with your individual counselor. They can tell you a lot more about what to expect on that day. Let's see, a question about what is the best major for pre-med? Well, pre-med. So unlike a lot of universities that have pre-med as kind of a track within maybe a biology major or a general health sciences major, at MCPHS, pre-med is actually a full major. We call it pre-medical health studies. So if that's what you're looking for, we do have that as a completely dedicated major. But again, I think probably like a lot of the questions here, it's always a good idea to connect with your individual admissions counselor so we can really have a deeper conversation, try to identify what's your actual career goal, right? What are you looking to accomplish? And really see, is the pre-med major the best fit or not? Based on your question, mentioning pre-med, I would assume that's probably the right choice. But again, there may be other elements of your decision and other aspects that we want to review with you. So reach out to your individual admissions counselor, or once again, admissions@mcphs.edu, and we'll connect you with a counselor and go through that in a little bit more detail. Let's see, a question about switching majors. So what is the process for switching from health sciences to nursing later on? So that's something that you would consult with your academic advisor on once you are here on campus. If you are looking to get into the nursing program but weren't admitted right out of high school, typically that would mean you would need to bump up your GPA a little bit in your first semester or your first year. So there's no exact protocol for that I can share on my side from the admissions office. But again, once you are here, you can connect with your academic advisor. That's a process you can review with them. And as long as you do have appropriate GPA and academics, that is something you can request to switch, and they can work with you on that process once you are here on campus. Okay, good questions, guys. Keep them coming. I see a few other questions. How far is MCPHS from the dining hall? So if you're talking about the Boston campus, the dining hall is literally right across the street from our primary academic building. So I could actually probably throw a baseball from my office and hit the cafeteria. It's that close. It's about a 30-second walk from the main academic building to the dining hall. So very, very close by. There is an additional dining hall over at Emmanuel as a part of the Colleges of the Fenway that you can utilize over there as well. It depends on where you're living. So if you are living in St. Julie Hall, you may access that one. If you're living in one of the traditional MCPHS campus-based dorms like Treehouse or Matricaria or Fennel, it's right across from the main academic building. Is the campus safe to walk at night? I certainly think so. I'll always be open and honest. I'm of course biased working for the university and being from the Boston area myself. I would very much encourage you to reach out to us and connect with some of our current students and ask them their opinion. But from my standpoint, absolutely. Boston is a very safe area. It's really made up of universities and hospitals and healthcare facilities. So when you have so many healthcare facilities and so many universities, you tend to have, a certain type of people who are there to better themselves and educate themselves. So you're not going to see as much crime as you might find in other areas. It's not to say there is zero. Always you want to take precautions, right? Maybe don't walk by yourself at 3 o'clock in the morning down a dark alleyway. Use kind of common sense. But MCPHS does have a campus drive-back program as well. So if you're off campus within, I believe it's about a 2 or 3 mile radius up until 1 o'clock in the morning, if you need an escort back to campus, you can call public safety and someone will escort you back to campus. But yes, extremely safe. Again, I encourage you to come to campus, check it out for yourself, or request to speak with one of our current students and have them share their input as well. Let's see, do we have a regular pre-med program and how long is the program? Yep, so I talked about that a little while ago. So we do have a standalone pre-med major. Generally speaking, it's a 4-year degree like most bachelor's degrees. However, if you are part of a specific pathway, for example, our medical pathway or our physician assistant pathway, it may be shorter. So in some cases, it would be 3 years for the bachelor's degree, followed by 3 years of your master's of physician assistant studies or 4 years of your doctor of medicine, depending on what you're looking to do. Let's see, is nursing a good major if you're planning to apply to PA school? So the short answer is yes, it can be. However, as I sort of alluded to in the last answer, we actually do have a PA pathway. So that is with our pre-medical major. So you can actually do a 3+3. So 3 years of your bachelor's of pre-medical health studies, followed by 3 years of your master's of physician assistant studies. So it's a little bit more of a direct and kind of articulated pathway. You do still have to reapply after your bachelor's degree, but it'll ensure that you're taking all of the right prerequisite courses. You get specific PA advising. So that's kind of the traditional route that most students take. Nursing is not a bad option as well. So if you really do like nursing and you kind of want to leave open the option both to become a registered nurse and to pursue PA school later on, it can certainly be a good choice. But again, as always, schedule time to talk with your individual admissions counselor. We can kind of go through and kind of find out a little bit more about what your specific goals are and help make the most appropriate recommendation. Let's see, when are our EA2 decisions coming out? So actually all our EA2 decisions should have already been released. So if you have not received your decision, you can check in with your admission counselor. It may indicate that something is missing for your application. Or you may have received it and just not checked your application portal. That's possible. But I believe all EA2 decisions should already be out, assuming your application was complete. Let's see, I see a question about English proficiency. Do you need an IELTS exam or a TOEFL for our master's and PhD programs? So when it comes to English proficiency, if your native language is not English and the language of instruction in your school was not from the United States or one of our pre-approved internationally recognized curriculums, then yes, you would need to submit an English proficiency exam. It could be the IELTS exam, it could be the TOEFL exam, or it could be the Duolingo exam. We also accept two other exams called the ITEP, ITEP, and another one called the PTE. So any of those exams are acceptable, but yes, if your native language is not English, you would need to take one of those, regardless of whether you're applying for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD degree. You can check out our website for specific requirements depending on which exam that you're taking. And if you are unsure or would like to discuss further, you can reach out to us on the international admission side. Our email for that is international.admission@mcphs.edu. Let's see. Good. So some more international questions. That's great because that's my role as Director of International Admissions. So what financial aid is accessible to international students and how much can it cover? Good question. So international students are fully eligible for our merit-based scholarships. So being that it's merit-based, it's going to be awarded on the basis of your academic performance from either your high school or your university, depending on which level you're coming from. The specific amount will vary a little bit, again, depending on which level. So generally speaking, for undergraduate programs, the amount of scholarship can go up to about $18,000 per year on the maximum side, which represents about a 45% reduction in the tuition cost. Keep in mind that's the maximum, does not mean all students receive that. It will be based on your academic performance, but that gives you kind of a general idea of where it can go. But if you're applying for a master's degree or a professional program, best to connect with your individual counselor. We can go over and kind of give you more insight as to how that would work specifically for your program. And again, the general email box for our international office is international.admission, no S, so just international.admission@mcphs.edu. Where can you find out about the tuition and how much is due per year? Yeah, so that's right on our website. The easiest thing to do, I like to do, is just Google MCPHS tuition, and the first link that pops up should be the direct link to our tuition website. You can go to the main website, mcphs.edu, and navigate from there as well, but I find it's easy to just type it into Google, and it's usually the very first result that'll pop up. Let's see, question about the pre-dental program. Can you give more information about the dentistry/pre-dental program? Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of our, I would say, most unique programs and one of my personal favorite programs. So it is a dental hygiene with a pre-dental track program. So it's an accelerated program, so it's about 3 years long, meaning you'll save some time and also some money on living costs because it's only 3 years instead of 4 years, which is really nice. However, the benefit is you'll graduate earlier, you'll get to the job market earlier, and you really get two elements of your degree. You'll have a license as a dental hygienist. So if you just wanted to work as a dental hygienist, you have that option. You're going to graduate, you're going to have a license, you can stop, you never need to do any additional schooling, and you can directly after 3 years work as a dental hygienist. But by adding on the pre-dental track, which you asked about, it also ensures that you are taking all of the required prerequisite courses to be ready to take the dental admission test, the DAT, to go on to then pursue your Doctor of Dental Medicine or Doctor of Dental Surgery degree. We do have a standalone dental hygiene degree as well. So if you know upfront definitively you do not want to pursue dental school, you can just do the slightly shorter dental hygiene degree. In my opinion, for most students, unless you're really certain that you never want to leave open the option for going on to dental school, for most students, I do recommend the pre-dental track program. It's about 3 months longer than the regular dental hygiene program, but it gives you both options. And so, I can tell you from experience, I changed my major twice when I was in university. It's fairly common, as you get a little bit older to develop different interests and maybe change a little bit. So, I like leaving that option open, but I hope that helps. And again, as always, if you want more information, reach out to us at admissions@mcphs.edu, and we will connect you with your individual admission counselor and go into that in a little bit more detail. Let's see. So actually, another related question to dental hygiene, you wanted to know what recommended courses to take in high school. So really, for all of our programs, we strongly recommend taking the highest level of chemistry, biology, and math available at your school. For most programs, physics is not required. There are certain ones that can be a little bit more helpful, like biotechnology, really not as necessary for something like dental hygiene, but chemistry, biology, and math. And again, if you can take those at the highest level that your school offers, that's going to be not only a benefit to you in the application process, but really going to make sure that you're well prepared when you come into the advanced science and math courses at the university level. Let's see, some nursing questions. When can you start the nurse practitioner program after graduating from the BSN? Right away, as soon as you graduate and you apply, and you're eligible to start whenever the next available intake is. So you can start your application to that towards the end of your senior year of your BSN program, and then whatever the next available intake is, you can start right away. Yeah, you don't need to have any sort of gap in between, as far as I'm aware, as long as you have graduated and you have your license exam. Let's see, tuition, wondering about the tuition cost for the accelerated nursing program. It's best to go to the website for that. I believe off the top of my head, I think it's somewhere around $62,000 for the accelerated program. Keep in mind, that's only for year 1 and year 2. It'll go down in year 3 because the way the nursing program works is there's 3 semesters in year 1, 3 semesters in year 2, and then the final year there's only 2 semesters. So 3 plus 3 plus 2. It's still 8 semesters, just like a 4-year degree, but it's accelerated and compressed. But again, if you Google MCPHS tuition, the first link that should pop up will be our tuition website, and you can see the details there. But I believe it's right around $62,000 for year 1 and year 2, and then it'll go down in year 3. Is housing guaranteed? Maybe. And I say maybe because it depends on what level you're starting. So if you are starting as a first-time freshman, yes, housing is guaranteed at least for the first 2 years. Not required, so if for some reason you decide you don't want to live on campus, you're not required to. I do very much recommend it for all first-time freshmen, but it is fully guaranteed for those first 2 years. After that, typically, as long as we have space available and you register by the deadline each year, you can usually request housing beyond that as well. It's just no longer guaranteed after the first 2 years. If you are a transfer or graduate student, we don't technically offer the guarantee, but generally we do have available space. The best thing always to do is to apply as early as possible and submit your deposit as early as possible. The earlier you do it, the better chance you'll have of getting housing. But again, for a first-time freshman, yes, fully guaranteed for the first 2 years. Let's see, some questions about some transfer students. You applied to be a transfer student to the medical sonography program on our Boston campus and are wondering if there's a deadline. Yes, there will be a deadline. It should specify the deadline in your admission offer. So if you go into your application portal and read your acceptance letter, it should say that there is a deadline to decide whether or not you're planning to enroll on your acceptance letter. If you're talking about simply the application process and you have not yet been admitted, no, we do a rolling admissions process. However, keep in mind, rolling admissions just means we continue to evaluate applications as long as there's available space. So as of right now, yes, there is available space. That could change at any time. So it's always a good idea to get your application in as soon as possible to ensure that there is available space, not only in that program, but in any other program that you're looking to apply. Let's see, GPA question about masters in biology. So actually we don't have a master's in biology. There may be similar programs that you might want to look at, like for example, our master's in clinical investigation and development, or something like medicinal chemistry or pharmaceutics or pharmacology. Those are things you could look at, and again, consult your individual admission counselor on, but we do not offer a master's degree in biology. That's only at the bachelor's degree level. Let's see, Kanchi Patel, can you request more financial aid if you need it? Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. You absolutely can. Now, I can't give you a guarantee without going through your individual situation as to what the result will be. But yes, we do have what we call an aid appeal process. So if you've been admitted, you've received a scholarship, and if you're a U.S. citizen or a U.S. permanent resident, you've already received your FAFSA award package, and it looks like you really want to attend MCPHS, but finances are the only thing holding you up. Yes, you can make a request for additional assistance. We would schedule an affordability conversation either with your admission counselor or with a member of our Student Financial Services office, and we'd go through a little bit more detail about your specific financial situation and look to see what may be available to help you out. So definitely, again, if you know who your admission counselor is, reach out to him or her. I'm happy to set up that conversation. If you're unsure, just go ahead and email us at admissions@mcphs.edu, and we will connect you with the appropriate person. Okay, and let's see, I'll take two last questions before we wrap up. I see a couple of questions about tuition discounts. Do we know if MCPHS has a New England tuition discount? And then a similar question, do siblings get any type of discount? So the technical answer to both of those is no. Firstly, as a private university, our tuition rate is the same for all students. So it doesn't matter if you're in-state, If you're out of state or if you're an international student, the tuition rate is the same. Generally speaking, the kind of the in-state or out-of-state or New England discounts are usually more for public universities. Some private may do that as well. But for us, it's the same tuition rate across the board. And no, we don't typically offer a direct sibling discount rate, but it is important, I think, that you mention to your admission counselor that you do have a sibling studying in MCPHS. So if you are kind of making that a request for additional financial assistance, that's something we may be able to take into consideration and reviewing with your family, but there's no kind of set policy for that in place. All right, so I think we're going to wrap up there. That takes us to the end of our Ask Us Anything session. Thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you found it helpful. Once again, our general email box is admissions@mcphs.edu. I hope I'll get to see some of you who've been admitted at our next admitted student event on February 21st or at our open house on March 14th. But thanks again, and look out for the next Ask Us Anything session.